those thoughts that you have about yourself that you think other people are thinking about, they're not thinking about them. So
Hmm.
it's just kind of like, oh, if I go up to that and it's, if you pre-think, and I know some people do that. I also am a doer and then I think, where yes, sometimes,
That is
in the
helpful.
past growing up, my parents are like, yeah, that's why you got in trouble so much, because you just do and then you think and then you turn your brain on. But now it's so helpful to me and what I do, just because I have a mission and it's like, okay, we're not going to think about it, we're just going to do.
Hello and welcome to episode 280 of the Wisdom and the Tangents podcast. If you're new around here, hello. My name is John. I am the host of the show. I am also a photographer, wedding photographer, commercial photographer, and a photography business coach, helping photographers and creatives like you to build your business, grow your community, and create the lifestyle that you've always dreamed of. Part of that is this podcast. And today on the show, I have Staci Brucks joining me. We're talking about doing things scared. Like, even whenever you're feeling that fear, don't let it overtake you, but doing stuff scared. And she's got some really great tips about how to do that, and some good stories from times that she's overcome that fear. Staci is a wedding and destination photographer based in the Midwest. Or is Kansas the Midwest? She's in Kansas. Kansas is more like the mid. She's from the mid of the U.S. And traveling all over the place. And one thing that won't be mid is our conversation today. That was a really terrible segue, but I'm glad that I got a good dad joke in there. Before we get into my conversation with Staci, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor of the show today, and that is Imagine AI. You've heard me talk about Imagine before. If you've ever felt like, man, I just wish I could like clone myself so that clone could be doing all of the like photo editing portion of the work, and I could be behind the camera, take more photos, interacting with more people. That's what Imagine AI does in a way. They won't actually like take your DNA and clone you, but they will learn from how you edit your photos. And then their AI algorithm edits just like you and then sends them back to you super quick. It's amazing. It's like having someone in another room who is much faster and better at editing than you, and then boom, you get like the best thing for me is whenever I send out a whole gallery to be edited, and then I go like make breakfast, make a coffee, and then while I'm doing that, I get a little notification in my email that my edits are finished, and I haven't even finished my breakfast yet. So if you want to check out Imagine AI, get 1,500 images edited for free, then go to allheartphoto.com/AI and sign up today. And now let's get into my conversation with Staci Brucks. I'm the same way, where like I've been on podcasts where we chatted for like 15 minutes and then we got into some like really good topics and stuff. And then they were just like, all right, and now we'll go ahead and record. I'm like, oh, you could have
Right.
used so much
Yeah.
of that.
Well, and it's the whole thing of like, even when we talk about, okay, so this is kind of what we're thinking, and then what are my thoughts? And then those thoughts turn into actual things that I'm like, dang, this is why we just need to start pressing record, because the good things usually just
Yep.
start rolling naturally.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, and we can just start rolling.
okay.
I'm excited to have you here, Staci, and get to chat. And I feel like since we met a few months ago in person, you have just been like on the go, which I know then you were like, yeah, I'm not
Always.
going to be home until like May. And now it's May. Are you finally home? Is this your
I
home
have,
office?
so I have been home for, yes, home office. Been home for, I think 3 weeks or so, and I have a San Diego wedding this weekend. So I'm so excited. So I've had a little bit of break of travel, But honestly, it's crazy because I love this so much. And like, I am a go, go, go type person where if I have a month off, I'm like, okay, where we go next?
Right. Oh
Even if it's
yeah.
just like a little short weekend trip, I'm like, I need to go see something new and then I'll come back home.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's
No.
been a great whirlwind of a roller coaster of a lot of new things this first half of the year.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, like you've been all over the place too, and San Diego is going to be so much fun. That is one of my favorite
Yes.
places to go
Yeah, it's been a hot second since I've been back, but it's like that 75 and sunny weather all year round. Like, oh,
all the time.
so excited. So excited.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're in Kansas, is that correct? That's where you're
Born
based?
born and raised in Wichita, Kansas. But I kind of tell, when people ask, I'm more so like local to Wichita and Kansas City just because the markets are different. But also the Kansas City market's just a little bit higher. So like a 2.5 hour drive is nothing for me. Put on a good
Right.
podcast and I just get on the road and it's like that going there and back. So,
Oh
but
yeah.
yes, in
That
Wichita.
that's like me. Like I'm in College Station, Texas, and Houston's an hour and a half down the road. Austin's
Right.
2, Dallas is 3. It's like, yeah, those are my main markets. Like College Station, not so much.
Yep.
But like and being like I feel like us like in the middle of the states, we're used to driving. And like
Oh,
a
yeah.
2.5 hour drive is like that's nothing. But like you talk
Oh,
to someone from like Massachusetts or something, they're just like, you drive more than 30 minutes to a wedding? That is insane.
I know. And it's all like, oh, Colorado's only, we could get there in 7 hours from my house. I mean, like it's a little road trip. So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, before we get into like, our topic and everything, I did want to talk to you about like, has there been something over your career that you have just like something that you've either learned or a lesson that you learned, some sort of advice that has just really hit you that you were just like, oh, this is a game changer?
First thing that comes to my mind, and this isn't really like a lesson learned, but I think it's validation in this job more than ever. I would say relationships, networking, and because I worked in the medical field for almost 5 years. So going from that scene into this scene, it's like it's a job, but it's way different in like, those referrals. I get so many amazing referrals. So it's the whole thing, I feel like just like taking care of the people that take care of you. And
Mm,
just nurturing those relationships and making everyone around you and like, let's just say a whole wedding day is like making people feel seen and knowing that it's like, yes, this is my job and like I'm showing up to do my job, but I'm serving other people and taking care of people. So that's just kind of how I've always been. But more so, it's just, the random conversations that you have with people you never know what can change your life. So I'm all about just, I know it's so, so dang scary and uncomfortable to be in this type of industry and stuff, but throwing yourself out in rooms and in people and having conversations that you're just like, oh, I'm so nervous or I'm so scared, but you don't know what that can do for your business.
oh yeah. Yeah. And like I feel or I get pushback from people, and I used to be this way too, of just like the introverted, like if I'm in a room full of people, I am by myself. Like I'm just gonna go stand over by this table and have a drink or something.
I think that's
But
where I found you at Hybrid. You were eating your chicken and waffles at a table by
oh
yourself.
yeah. Oh, I had that was such a long day. I had been up since like
Yes.
5 or 6, and that was my first moment to like sit down. And then like you and Noella and Tiffany
So
came
we'll
over,
give
and
you
I
a
was
break.
like,
We'll give you a break for a hot second for that.
yeah, I was like, okay. And I welcomed y'all. I was like, yeah, come on over. Like I love to chat with people. Um,
Yes.
but like for the longest time, especially when I was a kid, I was very introverted and very much like I didn't really want to talk to people, and kind
Mm-hmm.
of like what you were saying of like that fear of like I don't know what they're going to think of me, or
Mm-hmm.
what do we even talk about. It might start this conversation and then it just like, oh, I don't know where to go from here. And yeah, being in different different rooms and conferences and networking events, like it's been like little steps
Mm-hmm.
of just saying hi and
Yeah, and
just
that's the thing also. I've always been very outgoing, very social. I always say I can talk to a
mm,
wall. I was that kid to always get in trouble in library, talking to my friends, kicking them underneath the table, and now look at it's paid off. But it's such a socially fulfilling job in everything that we do. And I have realized, like, being an extrovert, I also now love to recharge. And so that, like, even after a wedding day, and my husband's like looking out in the garage, she's like, "You've been out there for an hour." I'm like, "Right," but I'm sitting here in silence. Like, I have noticed battery does get drained, but I'm the kind of person I need a good 1-2 days to reset, and I'm out again.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's also a space in this industry for introverted and extroverted, and what it just looks different for different people. And I think that that's where it's become a little bit easier for me to just like walk into a room because I am curious. Like, I want to know your story. I want to hear what you're about, and I just love asking questions. And I will say also, like, if you're, let's just say, a wedding day, I was talking to someone the other day. I said, yeah, it's really easy to, it's, or not easy, but like, it's so great when you see people you haven't seen in years, because it's like, I just had a wedding last week, and I saw people I haven't seen in 15, 20 years maybe. And it's just crazy
Wow.
but you always, that's great that it's like the short conversation, but you always have an out, especially on a wedding day, because you're like, oh my gosh, amazing. Hey, I gotta run. I gotta go take some pictures.
Right.
So it's
You've
in
always
that
got that
sense,
in your back pocket, just in case.
because I was having this exact same conversation with he was an usher, and I knew him from way back when. And he was like, I just don't know how people, like, it's a very social job. And I'm like, right. But guess what? If I'm having a conversation that I'm like, this is not going anywhere, it's like, I got a jet. And he's like, wow, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But all in all, it's awesome. I love this more than anything. And it's crazy just going into things, knowing that it's like my cup, actually, my personal cup gets filled for doing this job. Like, being able to show up for someone else on their wedding day, and I leave and I'm like, that was amazing. And that's how
Yeah.
I know it's just like I'm in the right field, I'm in the right job, because I truly, truly love what I do.
Yeah. I feel like that's for like us wedding photographers who just love it. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have to love it, because if you don't, like it is so quick to burn out in
Yes.
weddings because it is so much work.
Yes.
And but whenever you love it, it's just like, yeah, I was here for like 12 hours and
Right.
I am so tired, but I am so pumped.
Yep.
Like I'll get home and my body is exhausted, but my mind is just like, I can't wait to see these photos. I got to get them up on the computer. And
100%. Well, and
yeah,
plus, I mean, like, you're ending your night, you're like, and it's like, okay, now it's like 11 p.m. Like, let's calm down, let's go to bed. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So like there's a lot of the when like whenever you're at a wedding and like the networking, socializing, I've heard people talk about like how your clients are your number one client, and then like the planner is your number two, and all that. But like there's so much more than just like the main people that you think of with networking and like having conversations and just being curious, because you can talk to any, like I have talked to like aunts and uncles and just random friends and just like hit it off with them, and then they start following me on Instagram, and then get engaged a couple years later or something. There was one wedding where everyone was so friendly, which was so great. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I feel like family. This is so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And like everyone's just dancing together on the dance floor.
Those are
And
the
that has
best.
led to like three other weddings
Yeah.
over the course of the years, just because I talked to people.
Mm-hmm. I also always, tell people, like, when I do mentor sessions and like stuff like that, I'm like, picture it in a way where every single wedding, or even in the conference world, or anything that you show up to, an event, think of it as basically like your interview process. Like you're walking into that room and you have no clue who's watching your every move on a wedding day. And that can be guests that are
Mhm.
sitting there that they're like, ooh, so I might get engaged soon. I really liked her. And like then they're like studying. They're like, ooh, I liked the what she did right there. Like that's how I've gotten weddings where random guests. And it's just it's so important to be aware of your surroundings and like what environments you are in. And so even like, if you get upset about something or you're frustrated, you don't know what your, mood is going to do to somebody else that's just like, so it's just, and be yourself. That's the sort of thing
Yeah.
and like who you are. But I just think it's how you show up and knowing that there's not going to be things that always go right, but kind of just taking that. And like, I've had people ask, they say, do you ever get stressed? And I was like, well, I feel like I'm a person that can handle a lot on my plate and I handle my stress very well. But I was
Mhm.
like, this was a couple girls in the bridal party. And I said, if I do, you won't ever know on the outside that I'm stressed. And they're
Yeah.
like, wow, that's so awesome. And it's just like, I just know how to internalize that and know that it's like, this is not about me today. This is for showing
Mm.
up for other people. But yeah, it's just, also what I was going to say too is at the end of the night, one thing that I do at every wedding, even if it takes me another hour, hour and a half before I leave, I go around to every person that I talk to or either just had a short conversation with or was help on the wedding day. I want to go up to that person and say, hey, look them in the eyes and say, hey, thank you so much for today. And I've even done that to grandma. And grandma even said, she goes, what did I do? She was like, I didn't do anything. And I was like, it was just you being you. So thank you. And it's just I've gotten wedding inquiries from being like, yeah, the mother of the bride said you were amazing and she talked to you. It's just like, again, taking care of those people and not just
Yeah.
vendors, but also those people that are showing up for the event that you're at. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's wild whenever I've like second shot with people and then they're just like, all right, it's 10 o'clock, I'm out. Or,
Mm-hmm.
the couple runs through the sparklers or bubbles or whatever is going on at the end. And then they're just like, all right, cool. Let's wrap up everything. I'm ready to hit Taco Bell and go home. And I'm just
Right.
like, oh, like I do the same thing that you do. I love just like chatting with people and going around just being like, hey, this was such a great day, thank you so much. And they're always, like, you did, you were everywhere taking all the photos. I'm like, yeah, and you were everywhere on the dance floor too, and
Right.
helping out in the getting ready portion. You did a lot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like
I
that's
just,
the stuff.
it's
it
just
it,
so
it makes
important.
them like, people will remember how you make them feel,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
not so much of what you do. And whenever you do that and you are intentional, like, they remember that. And
Mm-hmm.
they may be like, for them it's like, yeah, sure, Stacy's photos, they looked great and all that, but they're like, but she made me feel wanted and like seen, and you need that for your wedding day.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just that like I have it's like part of my routine. Like I'm going around trekking and it's like me looking like this. I'm looking like I'm scoping out, but it's like I'm like, okay, I already said bye to dad. All right, I'm trying to find grandma, I'm trying to find aunt, ooh, where was that bridesmaid at? That I know that
Uh-huh.
she's probably, and it's all genuine, but also it's strategic where it's just like you're marketing yourself and how you show up to people. And again, like people, I always just say too, there's so many incredible photographers all over the place. But like what sets you apart in your brand is who you are. And that is like my superpower, knowing that nobody can identically be me. They can, we can have very similar work and we can show up, but it's just like, again, like my personality is to my advantage. And I really, really lean into that, and just show people who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what we need to do, is just like be ourselves, and like, and lean into it, not so much of the like, the scared, but what are they going to think if I am myself? Or are they going to accept me? Is this going to be okay? Shouldn't I just act like this other person that I see who has 100,000 Instagram followers, and like they do these things, so I should do those things? And yeah, Like how do you, like, when are you afraid? When are you scared? What things kind of get you to where you're just like, ooh, I've got to push through this?
So I, oh man, the first thing that comes to my mind is when your inbox is a little crickets. And I know that's
Mm,
everybody because it's a roller coaster of emotions being as, an entrepreneur and knowing it's like, when's the next booking going to come? But it's funny that I had this conversation a couple weeks ago and, there's the few that trickle in, but then sometimes you're just like, okay, those ones that you're wanting to land and like those weddings that you really want to take because I am so grateful for everyone that comes through my inbox and like who inquires with me, but I want it to align on both ends because it is a partnership and like I want to be 50-50 with my clients. That it's like, I built myself in a way where I want to be fulfilled in a way where it's not just a job and me showing up and it's not just a paycheck. Like
yeah.
I want to be excited for your day as well, where it's just like those people that do get in a routine of like the burnout, it's because you're, taking just everything. And I know it's the building in the beginning of stages. I remember feeling like when I was shooting 6 days a week, it's like, okay, but it's like you got to build your portfolio and all that. So we've all been there. But just knowing that it's just things are going to be okay. And even when your inbox is, let's just say, a little bit dry than normally, it's going to be fine. Because as you continue to show up, and if you're being consistent and like showcasing your work and showing what you love, like there's going to be people that align with what you do. So it's just, my husband even said, he goes, okay, let's just take a minute. He goes, do you realize you get this way every single year around these two times of the year? It's like
Yeah.
clockwork. And I was like, are you sure? Like this exact time last year? He goes, yes. He was like, every single year. And I was like, okay, well, it's good to be reminded. And I also ask people around me too a lot where it's like, hey, keep me in check. Did I say something wrong? Did I, that sort of thing. And just being very self aware of that. But I think that knowing that, or even just when it comes to so if you send out a proposal and a client doesn't go with you, and like it was a wedding, I've had a couple recently where I'm like, oh, I got this in the bag, where I really, really want to do their wedding. And then they either ghost me or they just don't respond. I have to try really hard at this to take a step back out of it and say, Staci, a no always equals a yes somewhere else. And
Yeah.
I constantly always, that is like I think that's my biggest 2026 me, is knowing that it's okay being told no or not even getting an answer, but also knowing that if you feel that, great. But if not, you might feel something the next week that's just as fulfilling. So it's just knowing that it's like, it's scary for everyone. But if you are constantly wanting this for yourself and actively, doing stuff, like things will fall on your plate and doors will open that you never thought they would do. And it just all in all goes back to having conversations with people. And if you're like, okay, I don't have much, on my calendar, let me just reach out to a whole bunch of photographers, ask if they need second shooters. There's
Yeah.
always an opportunity to do something or throw out some mini sessions to like fill that time in between and do what you can and just not be fearful of the unknown. And I think that that's where I constantly check back, where it's like, I don't know what the future is going to look like, but it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay.
Kids, I'm going to tell you an incredible story. A story about how I met your mother. And I'll tell it in less than 9 years. Years ago, I used to spend all of my time editing photos and straightening and cropping and color grading. All of my friends thought I was antisocial, but really, I was just overworked. Then I met Imagine AI. Imagine AI looks at the steps that you take from your raw images to your final products, and then they replicate that so everything looks like your edits. And the best part is that they learn more and more and get better after every single photo shoot. Since I've been using Imagine AI, it has saved me over 200 hours of editing time, time that I could spend on other things like going to Super Bowl parties and meeting your mom. So if you want some extra time in your life, go to allheartphoto.com/AI and get your first 1,500 images edited for free. That's allheartphoto.com/AI and get back your time. See how I didn't fixate on your Aunt Robin? This is how you tell a story. Now back to the show. Oh yeah. Yeah. And like we'll get those like a week of like a dry spell of not having leads come in and just be like, my business is failing.
Yeah.
What is going on? It's
Everyone
like,
has that thought.
yeah. It was like, oh no, we were riding high for so long.
Yep.
And now what, like, am I going to have to close up shop this year? Like what is, and then usually the next week you start having stuff come back in.
Yep.
And it's like the entrepreneurship roller coaster is crazy, and our memory is so bad.
I know,
because like your husband said, like, you know, every year around these times it's like this, like, which is summer for me because like it's so hot here in Texas, and every summer I'm like, I really don't have as much as I did. And it's like, yeah, this is the slow season. This is kind of the off season where you gotta pivot into other things.
Yeah.
And it's been like, it's always good to look at your numbers and to look at like cycles and stuff to just be like, oh, okay. I normally have like a break of leads because this really isn't like engagement season, and maybe engagement season just ended and now everyone's just kind of like trying to get into stuff, or you know, whatever the reason is.
Yeah, I know. It's the constant always that I have to tell myself. I'm like, Staci, relax, like relax. But I think when you're just so used to being so busy, I struggle with taking a breath. And it's like when I'm all caught up on editing, like this time is a little bit easier because it's nice outside. Like I'll go sit outside. I'll, do some gardening. I just took my dog on a walk this morning. Like it's good to just, but also not like when I, taking a walk, I'm not on my phone while I'm doing that, to be able to give myself that breather, to be like, you don't need to scroll on TikTok or Instagram or check your emails. Like just enjoy what you're doing. And I have to be very mindful of that because I do love to be busy. But even, some of my friends are like, Staci, it's like, okay to chill. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really have a chill. Like, I don't have the word chill in my vocabulary, but I'm trying to work on it, knowing that I will be such a better person to everybody else around me if I do chill just a little bit.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's healthy to chill every now and then. I grew up in a very like, both my parents were entrepreneurs, and we were always going and doing and like filling time with this. And I was homeschooled. So we were just like all together going and doing all these different things. So then as an adult, I've always just been like, okay, yeah, we're just going to go. And if I have an empty weekend, like, let's fill it up with something. And
right. I'm the same way. But, I will say, like, I haven't had weddings. I had a Thursday wedding last week, which I'm like, hey, people, where are the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday weddings? I'm like, give them all to me. I was joking. Seriously. And I was like, should I just market myself as a Monday through Thursday wedding photographer? I loved it because it also threw me off, where I went home and I was like, oh my gosh, I have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday completely off. I was like, this is amazing. But yeah, I feel, but it was good. It's like my husband and I went to the gym. We went to the farmer's market. We did this, we did that, just like slower paced things. But yeah, I am not I don't like to sit at home doing nothing, because when I am sitting at home and I do, I'm on my laptop, I'm editing, I'm doing, admin work and stuff. So I really try to be just like, okay, I keep my phone on do not disturb all day, every day. And I only let a select few people through. And now I check it. And like, I stay on top of emails and stuff like that. But I just don't want to be so connected where it's just kind of like every notification is like, oh, because it's already like, I have an issue with sitting down. But it's just, it's good to be completely turned away from just all the notifications. And even my dad, he was like, isn't that kind of disrespectful when people try to get in contact with you and it just says, sorry, we're not do not disturb? And I was like, well, I tell all my people, like, obviously you can push through if you need to.
Right.
But I go, if it's that important, like I'll get to you too. But it's just, when we're wrapped up in always on social media or techie type things with a camera, like screens in our faces, it's just so nice when I go outside and I just look into the sky and I'm like, I'll just watch the birds. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's great. But
Yeah. Oh, look, there's clouds. Let me
yep,
just like watch the clouds move.
yeah. Well, even my sister, she's a huge reader. And like I have a lot of friends that are huge readers and like, hey Stace, read this. You should read this book. I'm like, yeah, do you have an audiobook?
Yeah.
Because I have a couple degrees, studied a lot, but I think sitting down and reading, I'm like, that's great. But I would much rather be staring at the sky and the clouds just because I need the outdoors too. And just, yeah. So that's a
Mm-hmm.
whole thing where I wish I was a reader, but I just can't. I can't get into it.
Yeah, it has to be like a really compelling book, like some sort of thriller or
Yeah.
something, for me to be like, okay, you have my attention. I'm
Yep.
going to continue reading. But
Yeah.
yeah, audiobooks are my friends.
Yeah.
It's good. Has there? I don't know. There's like I was thinking of like what you were saying earlier about like kind of doing things out of your comfort zone
Hmm.
of like whenever you feel like that I don't need to go talk to that person, or I don't know about this, or even just like the uncertainty of like, well, I don't know, so I'm just gonna not do anything. um, do you have any tips on just like how you've been able to just like go and do even whenever you are scared, even whenever there is that fear of uncertainty?
Yeah. So I try very hard not to get in my head about things. And my biggest thing too is like I get out of my own way. And that's the biggest thing that you have to do, especially in a
Mm-hmm.
type of industry like this, knowing that even if it's the comparison game or, oh, what are they going to think of me? Trust me, I I never really struggled with that, but it is in the back of my mind where it's like, oh, what when I started my business was is a great example. I was so embarrassed when people found my Instagram page that said Staci Brucks Photography and they started following me, and I was like, oh my gosh, no, no, like, because I'm still new, but I think everybody struggles through that, knowing what other people are going to think. And yeah, if people have opinions, brush them off. If you are not, doing anything, you know, mean or anything. Like if you're just living your life, doing what you love and posting what you like, and if people do have opinions about X, Y, and Z, you just got to realize like that's them and also just do you. And I think that's where it's just knowing that those thoughts that you have about yourself that you think other people are thinking about, they're not thinking about them. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just kind of like, oh, if I go up to that and it's if you pre-think, and I know some people do that. I also am a doer and then I think where yes, sometimes,
That is
in the
helpful.
past growing up, my parents were like, yeah, that's why you got in trouble so much because you just do and then you think and then you turn your brain on. But now it's so helpful to me and what I do just because I have a mission and it's like, okay, we're not going to think about it. We're just going to do. And I, go up to that person, or even if someone passed and I, think it's so amazing that if you just have a thought where you're like, oh, I like that shirt, or oh, I like that girl's dress, tell it to them, and I think that that's where it's just, I don't think, oh, if I say that to them, they're going to be like, what, why did she talk to me? But they're going to appreciate that. So it's the whole thing of, that's like a super easy example that I just try so hard to just be like, okay, like you're the only one thinking about that and just do it. Like go up and have that conversation with the person. Or even if you feel like a conversation is going great and then it kind of like dives down, you're like, hey, it was so great talking to you, like, hey, I got a jet, you just, or even if you're like, I'm starving, I got to go get some lunch, even though you just ate lunch, just like, you just gotta, I don't, I guess feel like that's the best way for me to explain it. That I
Yeah.
just, I don't really use my brain before I do stuff.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Just turn off your brain
Yeah.
before you go into something, because yeah, like we get in our heads way too much, and
Yes.
I am like a chronic overthinker, and trying to, like, whenever I feel myself overthinking, and like that, I can see like the race is here, and I'm at
Yeah.
the starting line, and I'm like, all I need to do is just take a step and like get this started. But then you can feel yourself overthinking it, and like, well, what if they think this, or what if I do this, or what if this is embarrassing, or what if I put my foot in my mouth and say this thing. And like as soon as I feel myself starting to overthink, I'm just like, nope, and just like push myself
Hmm.
to take that step forward,
Yeah.
to like get outside, like get out of my own way, like you said earlier. And yeah, I think that is great advice, to just like go and do. And yeah, you might go meet someone, or you might go, make a connection, and it is embarrassing, and there is that awkward silence, and there is like the, all right, well,
Oh, all the
nice to
time.
meet you, see you
Yep.
later.
I also feel like I'm the kind of person that, I mean, I've gotten so much practice too with, being in the medical field when I would get my patients and then transferring to like having a random couple out in a field. It's like I have learned to fill the space with my voice, whether that's good or bad. But I just, you have the people that they also are talkers. So conversation bounces back and forth. I've
Yep.
also had hour and a half sessions where my clients are a little bit more reserved. They're quiet. So then I'm constantly asking them questions, and it's like I have dry mouth by the end of the session because I'm just like, I was running my mouth like just constantly. But I also want to make people feel comfortable in knowing that it's like, if you're not a talker, I I don't want there to be that awkwardness, but also knowing that that is okay. um, but I've heard from my couples that, aren't huge talkers, and they're just like, oh my gosh, you made that so comfortable. And like, no, I love that you just, talk through everything and like communicate with that, because then it doesn't allow them to get in their head and think about what they're
Yeah.
doing. Because then after, I'm just like, okay, we're gonna do this. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. You guys are doing amazing. Ooh, I love that you did that. And I'm coaching them through that, validating them. And I just think that is so important to know that it's like, yeah, I just can feel the space, I guess. But that's
Yeah.
just, I kind of just go back to the fact that I love this job so much because of what it allows me to do. And it's a basically free platform for me just to be like, okay, I can share my thoughts. And, I have said a lot of things where I'm like, okay. But, guess what I tell my clients? I was like, okay, yeah, just pretend I didn't say that. We're just going to keep moving on. It's just like I make a joke out of it, because I'm like, I say things and describe, like a pose or whatever, where I'm like, ooh, do this. Okay, just kind of like you're doing this. And I was like, yep, we're just going to keep, yep, that was weird. But,
Yep, that
and,
was weird. We're just going to keep moving on.
but like it makes them laugh and it just kind of breaks the ice. So it
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have been like the person in front of the camera in photo shoots, where if the photographer is talking to me, it feels so easy, and it's
Yes.
like, okay, this is great. Yes, I can do this pose. I can run over here and do that. Sure. And whenever it's just like, if you can, my rule is, if my clients can hear the shutter click, then I am not talking enough. I need to be
Yep.
talking, because I'm just like talking the whole time, and like I want them to feel confident. I want them to feel
Mm-hmm.
comfortable. And I know from being in front of the camera, whenever I have like just stood there and like doing a pose, and I just hear the click, click, click,
You're like, am I
and then
doing
I'm like,
okay?
do you
Yes.
want me to turn a different
Yep.
way? Do you
Yep.
want me to, like, what are we doing here? And yeah, you definitely get in your head,
Yeah. Or
and then
bring
they
music,
feel uncomfortable. Oh, I love
like
music. Yeah.
if you're not, a talker, there's ways to also be successful. If you are, you have those creatives that are really extroverted, or you have people who are more like it's the art side of things where they're not as talkers. Like this is not a communication based job for them. And like there's ways to do your job and also know that those clients are again booking you for you. And there's
Mm-hmm.
people like some people are like probably God no, I'll never hire Staci because she will not stop talking. Like and that's totally fine, you know, because there's people out there for me. So
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
also kind of going back to that too is I have always been a confident person, but knowing that this job has allowed me to be even more confident in the way that I show up. And the longer I've been in business, I've just seen the upside of knowing that I'm like, Stace, like you're doing this for you. And just remember, like, why are you doing this? Yes, you're
Mm-hmm.
serving other people, but like I'm showing up in the way that I best know how, and that's enough. And just like being confident in being yourself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, when you can actually be confident in yourself, like it is just so much fuel to get out there and go do it again
Yeah.
and just keep going and keep going.
I always
Uh,
say, like, if I put my eye on the prize, I'm just like, in the best way possible, I'm like, everyone get out of the line of fire because I'm coming through. Like, it's
yeah.
just, and even if I succeed or fail, like, I'm willing to, again, that just goes to show, like, you know, how I am, knowing that I don't think I just do. And it's just like, if I succeed or fail, I'm learning something. I'm taking a nugget away of, oh, I like that, or I didn't like that, or oh, that was for me, or no, and knowing that it's like there's always a shift in what I'm going to do, and that failing in something doesn't really mean failing. It's just kind of redirecting you into different paths. So I just think my whole outlook on everything with this job specifically is wrapped around as like my mindset is so positive. And I mean, I'm not positive 24/7. Like there are days that are rough and everything, but
Yeah.
I just think, you know, your mindset is huge and it is a very, very powerful thing that can cause you to go down routes that maybe you don't want to go. And so it's you know, it's just I always tell myself like we're good. We're good, you know, even though maybe we're not good, but I'm like it's going to be okay, you
It's going to be
know?
okay.
So I
Yeah.
just think staying on that, like, you know, leaning on things that you know, and yeah, everything is going to be okay. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And just like leaning on your expertise and like the
yeah,
stuff that you can control, because there's so much out there getting thrown at us all the time that we cannot control. And it's just like, okay, well, this craziness is going around, but I can do this.
yep,
And I'm going to focus
absolutely.
on this. And
Hmm.
like it helps you stay focused and helps you keep going.
Yeah.
Uh, we did get a couple questions. One from a friend of ours.
Who is
Um,
it?
Noella asked, "How much does Stacy love Noella?"
Well, first of all, I'm just going to say that we opened up this conversation talking about you, Noella. So,
I know, yeah, that was
first,
that was so funny. I was like, "We're
and
already talking about Noella."
I know she's amazing, plain and simple. If you don't know Noella, for everyone listening, you need to know Noella. So,
Yeah,
plain and
yeah,
simple.
oh yeah,
She's an
Noella,
amazing,
Andre.
inspiring human being that I mean, and she is honestly, she's the person that wants the best for people too. And like I've seen just when I met her and everything, just knowing that it's like, hey, I want to help you, you know. And it's just like that's where I always talk about the fact that like I've had so many incredible people help me, and that is why it's also like, okay, how can I help other people, how can I push that on? And that's why it's like I don't gatekeep, I don't do anything, just like I'm just giving that favor. So Noella is like a powerhouse of just like you and like having those conversations and you know, because I'm like she doesn't know what I want if I don't have that conversation, you know. And I don't know, I could go on and on.
Yeah, yeah, we can do like a whole nother podcast
Yeah,
episode
we'll
just
do
about
we'll do
Noella.
like a 2 hour podcast talking about how great she is.
Yeah, yeah, but no, it's like she is that like positive person
Mm-hmm.
that is like not in like a toxic positivity of just like everything's great and like don't worry about it, but just like, oh yeah, it sucks right now, but like you can do this, and like
Yep.
just so encouraging. And yeah, like extra helpful of just like, what do you need? What do you
Yeah.
like? She was on the show last year, and then like afterwards we just chatted for like 20 minutes, and she was like, who else do you want on the show? Let me text them.
Right.
Like, who have
Well,
you been trying to get?
her and I were actually talking the other day how it's exactly what we were talking about is like the sitting still and the problem. And I would say this is not even a problem, but for the people like us that have that time to sit still, all of a sudden now I'm just like, okay, so what new business should I create? And that was what
Mm-hmm.
Noelle and I were talking about is just like we're such go getters. And like I have enough in myself, but also being like surrounded by people that are so like minded in that way, where it's like I don't feel crazy the fact that like I can't chill out or whatever because I just love having relationships with other people where I'm like, okay, we are the same. We are the same,
Yes.
and that's great. And that's why it's like you get stuff done. And it's like for me, I always say, I want a big life, and things that I want like aren't gonna just be handed to me. Now, Noella might give you a couple things because she's
Right.
amazing,
Yes.
but it's just like in a sense, I have to go work hard for that. I have to show up, be myself. And I mean, with just 2 degrees too, before getting into all this, knowing that I've had to work very hard and nobody's just going to say, okay, here's your degree. Like I've got to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
And that,
Yeah.
that goes for everything in this industry specifically too. It's like, if you want more, if you want bigger, you want better, like you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times, like, I'll see or hear from people of just like, I'm just going to like put my work out there. And then the people that connect with my work are going to find me. I'm like, yes, but also you have to do the work too. You can't just like post a flyer up in the city streets and be like, people are going to hire me. They're going to be so
Right.
moved by the
Right.
photos that I share that they're going to be like, I have to have John. It's like you still have to do the work. You still have to figure out marketing. You still have to do all of the hard things, but also like sharing your work.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's
Yeah,
there's a lot you have to do.
it made me think about just I actually was just in Paris. I think I don't even know what month we're in. Last month, 2 months, last month and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like those walking through the Louvre. Okay, those are the people that can do like the one, let's just put our artwork out there and it'll move
Right.
you.
Yeah.
But, we're just in such a different day and age where even though it's a very saturated market, that should not intimidate people because you can still stand out.
Yeah.
You and I will say it's like never in a million years that I think that my life would look like this today. But also that's where it's just like I kind of fall into the no fear, like the unknown is exciting to me. But just knowing that it's like you can separate yourself from other people based on who you are. And that's where we are in this industry where it's like, yeah, you could potentially post a photo and could be very moving and without anything else, but we don't really live in that life anymore, and it's just like, again, how do you look unique to other people? How do you constantly separate yourself
Yeah.
in that?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause like whenever we're trying to be that showstopper or trying to like emulate what we're seeing other people do, it's like you start to look like them. And then we get a whole industry of the same people using the same presets, doing the same thing in the same poses, and everyone looks the same. And then there are no
Correct.
showstoppers. And then the showstoppers are the ones who are out there doing their own thing, flying by their own music, and they're just like, this is me. And like, this is how I'm going to be. And, run around being crazy, talking to your clients nonstop for an hour and a half. And like, that is,
Right.
I think that's what we got to do is
Yeah.
be yourselves. And if you don't know who you are, like take that time to figure out what makes you
Yeah.
different and what you can do.
Yeah. Another like challenge that I personally do, like in my own hometown, not having a bunch of creative places. And I challenge
Mm-hmm.
myself every time I have an engagement session that I don't travel for. I challenge myself to go into my session not using same spots that I've used before, or if I know they're amazing and that's the vibe that they want, because unfortunately, like in our area, we do get, I get a lot of like, oh, I loved this shoot you did. Like, can we use these spots? And I'm like, absolutely
Yeah.
yes. But using the spot, doing different poses, different like lighting, different directions, and it has challenged me so much to be like a better photographer going into my stuff, going, Stace, let's try not to do the same thing that we did last session. Because I think I was in a habit of like when I had engagement session after engagement session, and it was like the same thing. They wanted a downtown and then like nature.
Yeah.
And every time I would look at those galleries, I'm like, I feel like I'm looking at the same 3, 4 galleries, but different faces.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think as an artist too, it's being different, even what that looks like to your own self, and not getting in like those routines and making yourself uncomfortable. Don't living in fear. Cause like, even when I show up knowing, oh, it's the light, we're shooting at midday. Oh my gosh. But that's a challenge to me. And I love that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how can I get creative with midday lighting in this situation? So I just never live in
Yeah.
fear, I guess.
Yeah, I recently I just never lived in fear. I'm just cool that way.
Not really cool. I'm just like, well, it'll be fine. It'll be
Yeah,
okay.
and yeah, and that's it. It'll be okay. Yeah, I recently had a ceremony outdoors at 2 p.m. and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, this is going to be very different. And yeah, I shot it completely differently, and I was like, I'm gonna get these different angles that I normally wouldn't at like a golden hour sunset ceremony. Um, but yeah, no, I think that like pushing yourself to be creative, because we can get in a rut sometimes, especially with posing, where it's just like, I have these 3 poses that I will do over and over again,
Mm-hmm.
and then you just kind of like it is that same of just like, it's cookie cutter, it's just different faces on these
Yep.
bodies and they're doing the same thing. And yeah, having that like, do something different, do something weird that they're going to be like, okay, I don't know, and then maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't.
I had a, I always say this to like my clients too. I just, my husband always says, he was like, okay, when you say these things, like pause for laughter, because sometimes like I say the same things over and over, but I know they're going to land. So, but there was one guy, this was a long time ago. I was like, okay, this one's a little weird, but we're going to do this if that's okay. And he goes, well, I just have to be honest. What makes anything else different? Because it's all been weird. And I'm like, that is very valid. But
Yeah.
that's the other thing too. It's like I communicate with my clients knowing that it's like, hey, I'm thinking this, like, do you guys, it's a little bit different. It's a little weird. So I always make sure that like, I'm never also putting them in, a pose or a situation that they're not comfortable with. So I talk through that. And some people like, it's easiest example would be like sitting down versus standing up poses. I always ask, I'm like, hey, do you want to do this one? And in the moment, we have a chat beforehand, but also on the shoot day, I ask too, because some people are like, oh yeah, literally we'll do anything. Or they're like, I don't really want to. I'm like, yeah, that's really fine. And then I validate them going like, hey, actually, you know what? It's about 50-50. I ask this question to everybody, and some people want to and some people don't. So don't feel bad at all. And it's like, that's the best thing that you can do, especially being in a service industry, is like telling the people, being straight up, being like, hey, like, you're not weird for not wanting to do that or whatever. It's just the validation and also just the confidence in like myself and how I can showcase that into my clients.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I mean, just that is just seeing them and allowing them to be themselves, and not
Mm-hmm.
like trying to force them into like, well, I had this idea that I wanted to do this thing where you're like hanging off of this thing over here, and it's like, just throw out that option. Like at my wedding, our photographer was just like, what do you think about like jumping, like climbing up on top of this hay bale and then just jumping off, because there was just like this field next to our venue, and we were like, we're not really rustic country people,
Right.
I don't think that's going to be us. And they're like, okay, well, we also saw this trampoline on the other side over here, would y'all jump on a trampoline? We're like, we're down for that.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of our favorite photos, is
Yep.
the two of us full wedding attire jumping on a
That's so
trampoline.
awesome. I feel like we need to see this like blown up. So we should
Oh
circle this.
yes.
circle this
Yes.
photo.
Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, okay. Last question. This is a little bit more technical from Michelle. She asked, "I love how fast you shoot, and your photos look so sharp. What is your autofocus setup?"
Oh, I get this question asked so much. So I shoot on Nikon. So this is where
Nice.
I don't know if things are different within the camera gear and stuff like that, but I
Mm.
do, I'm trying to think now. I'm like, need to go grab my camera. This is some of the technical questions. I'm just like, wait, what do I do? You know, because it's like I do it, but I know I do
And then,
the auto people tracking, and then I do the like faces. I think it's, is that
like
answering the
the
question right?
face tracker one,
Oh,
where
oh,
like,
oh, okay, wait. It's like you can do wide, right? So I think that's, I'm
I
like, I
think
sound like
so.
I don't even know how to work a camera, but I do
Yeah.
the wide tracking. So it covers like everything. And then I do the face people tracking. Because isn't
Okay.
there like
Cool.
animals, whatever, whatever, whatever,
I think so.
or eye tracking? Oh,
I
there we go. Now it's
eye
like I'm thinking
tracking.
eye tracking. So
Mm-hmm.
I do the wide and then I do subject eye tracking, I believe.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. I am also like, I'm not super gear heavy. Like, I don't know a bunch of the things. Like, I can tell you what I do, but like a lot of what I do, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know
Same. And
exactly everything. Like, this works for
yes.
me.
Yep.
So
And
like,
I'm
this
very
is what I'm
honest
working
about
with.
that too, where again, with like the no gatekeeping, I will straight up be
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, I'll show you my back of my camera and I'll show you what I do, but
Yep.
did you hear that text come through?
No.
Okay, good. Because my mom just
Okay.
texted me and I was like, wow, that was a loud ding. Mom, I'm on the podcast. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just straight up say to people, I'm like, hey, this is what I do, but I I don't know. And because I don't know everything and I'm constantly learning. So I just think also like nobody knows everything. So, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And like, there's stuff like, check out different things and see
Yeah,
what works for you. Because like, I have tried the like action, motion, whatever tracking, and it doesn't always track the things that I want it to.
correct.
And I'm just like,
Correct.
this would have been great. But like, I shoot with single point focus. And
See,
there's a
I've
lot of
tried
like,
that
yeah,
and I was like,
yeah,
I don't know. So,
exactly. Yeah. And we find what works for us. And like, I am also fast and moving around. And like, I just did mini sessions and I took so many photos and we went to so many different places. And like, one of our friends that like, I shot their wedding 10 years ago, and like, they come to all of them. And I was showing my wife the photos and she was like, how long were you? I was like, this was 15 minutes. And she was like,
yeah.
y'all did
Hmm.
so much in 15 minutes.
I have done, I've done 10-minute minis one time. And it was like I'm 6, 7 minutes in, and I'm like boom, 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 because it's like I got what I want to do, and then I'm like
Mm-hmm.
looking on Pinterest. I'm like, hey, hang on, guys, I don't have any. I ran out of my 50 poses that we've done in 7 minutes,
Yep.
and yeah, I think practice also when it comes to posing and stuff like that too is the reason I shoot and can move so fast is because I'm constantly trying to like better myself in a way where I don't have to look for inspiration. And I know that's okay too. Like if you're in a session and you're like, "Oh, hey, I had some poses that I wanted to do." I was like, "Hang on just a sec, like talks amongst yourself." Cuz like I'm open and honest with my couples, or I'll even be like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Like, are you guys comfortable with this? And they're like, ooh, I love that. Because some people are visual learners too. And they,
Mm-hmm.
instead of like trying to put them in the origami pose, they're like, okay, I want you to do this. They're like, what do you want me to do with this hand? So
Uh-huh.
I think too, just being confident in also your own self and what you bring to the table, and knowing that it's like I am really good at posing because I'm also, picky about how I am in front of the camera. So like I want people to look at their photos and be so confident about themselves and so comfortable of just being like, that is the best photo I've ever seen of myself. Because when you look at your subject, you can kind of also tell it's like, okay, the flattering angles, or I always ask, plain and simple, do you have a side you prefer? I think that is the biggest thing too. And knowing that it's like
Mm-hmm.
making them already, you're setting them up for success already if you're asking them about what they want rather than you just gut jumping in going, okay, this is how I want you to be.
Yeah.
Because that's then directed more of like your shoot versus like their shoot. So again, me just shooting fast. I love posing. I love getting better. I love challenging myself in a way where it's like, let's do something different. Or, I mean, everyone is all different. We're all unique in our own ways. So it's like, that is also a challenge in itself to be able to set poses up. And I go into it confidently and just roll over something if it doesn't work, if it's not working for like you and your client too. Don't ever tell them like, okay, that was really bad. Let's do this instead.
Yeah.
Just be like, okay, I love that. Let's switch it up a little bit. Like, let's do this. And it's all about just like the flow of how you are and not ever making someone feel uncomfortable or bad about something that they're just doing.
Exactly. Yeah. And if those photos that pose didn't turn out great, they're not going to remember. Whenever
No,
they're going through the gallery, they're not going to be like, but wait, we did that one
there
and
could
I
be
don't see that in
there
here.
there could be because I have had that happen before where they're like, "Hey, I thought
Oh,
we did these," and
really?
I was like, "I have to." And then I was honest with them. I said, "This
Mm-hmm.
was a long time ago," and I said, yeah." They were like, "Oh, did those not turn out?" And I said, I just, when I go through the gallery, like I just always want to pick the best ones for you guys, but I would absolutely love to, like, if you want to look at them, I'll throw a couple in for you. And just kind of, I kind of brushed over in a way where it's like, oh, it wasn't my all time favorite pose, but I did give you 500 other poses, but do you really want this one? But
Right.
it's like, I have had someone that's curious and you just have to be honest, be like, yeah, oh, yeah, I didn't put that one, whatever, but if you would like it, here it is.
I guess here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And just being open and honest with them.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I know we're pushing on an hour now. This has been
We could
so
talk and
fun.
talk and
I
talk.
know. Seriously though. But before we wrap up, there's part of the show that I love to do where we talk about what we're loving this week. And it can be literally anything, a new book, TV show, movie, new food, whatever. What are you loving this week?
That my new little plants that I planted in the ground a couple weeks ago are starting to sprout. And I am
Ooh,
not, listen, I am not a green thumb person.
I
I
have a
am
black
not.
thumb.
Same,
They just
same.
die. I don't know what goes on. I try to water them and like I'll look online and be like, how often do I need to water this plant? How much sun do they need? And I'm like, buy the book and still they shrivel. So
Yeah,
I'm very happy for you
well,
that
I
they're
will say,
sprouting.
I have to, so our area where we live in, I have to have very hardy plants. But I will say too, I only buy plants that will come back every year because we're not about to
Mm,
plant everything. So it's like the hostas that are just like hardy, they can handle anything and like not have water all the time. And so when I saw a couple come through, I was like, oh my gosh, maybe I have like not as black of a thumb anymore. But it always, I don't know, I've around this time, just those little things bring me a little bit of joy knowing that I can actually keep something from dying. And, it's great. And also, I have these big flower bushes that I planted about 8 years ago when we moved into our house. And I go cut my own flowers around this time. And I think that that's so fun for me to go out my own backyard and cut my own flowers and put them in a vase. So little things that bring me
yeah.
joy and good coffee that brings me joy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we have like two big rose bushes out in the front yard and our girls will just they will pick all of them. And we
I love
have
that.
so many roses in the house and we're just like, okay, we got to leave a couple.
Yeah, just a couple
That way
outside.
that way they're not just bare
Yeah,
bushes. But yeah, it is really nice just like having those flowers to just
yeah,
pick from and have some beauty in the house too.
yeah. I'm a
Um
I'm a simple joys kind of person. I just lean into. I mean, our weather's been amazing. That sort of thing, and it's just
mhm.
like I. I just go, okay, so today this little thing was great, and or I didn't spill anything today, and that was a win, and just live off of the little things.
Yeah. Yeah. If I remember that my like third cup of coffee is in the microwave, it's a great day. So many
Yep,
times I'm like in the afternoon, go to microwave something. I'm like, oh yeah, that's where I put that.
yep,
Um,
yep. The amount of times I like iced coffee. I think well, it depends on the time of the year, obviously, but iced coffee
mhm.
is better for me because I can be such a slow coffee drinker. The
Yes.
warm coffee, I am literally no joke. I'm warming that up so many times in one
So many
day where it's
times.
just like
Yep.
I'll just I go when I have an espresso machine at home, so I try to make everything at home. But when I'm like, oh, I have a Starbucks gift card, I'm always like, yep, let's do an iced coffee, but like no ice. And they're like,
Hmm.
okay, but we have to put like one ice cube in it. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. It's gonna
That's
melt
fine.
anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Iced coffee is like I order that all the time. But yeah,
Yes.
I'm the same way. I'm just constantly reheating. Like I talked about it so much that one of my past brides sent me like this little desktop mug heater that
I
you just
have
put
one
it
of those
on.
too. They're
Yeah.
amazing. They're
It's
amazing.
so good. I was like, I don't
Yes.
have to go microwave this all the time.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, those
So
are
shout out to Stephanie.
that's a
Um,
blessing. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I am loving a new podcast, new-ish. It's called Beth's Dead, which sounds like very morbid, but it's not kind of. It's like a true crime-ish thriller deal.
Ooh.
Monica Padman from Armchair Expert. She like started this podcast interviewing two podcasters who she used to love who just like stopped their show, and she was interviewing them about like why they stopped their show, and they have a crazy backstory about like the community that they had built and some of their listeners who got way too personal. And there's also like huge twists in the whole
Wow.
thing. It's like I think it's like 8 or 9 episodes,
Yeah.
but very good, very interesting, and I really liked it. So
That I'll probably have to add that to the list. I
yeah,
love listening to music, but I've also been into, especially on like trips and everything, just to have those podcasts because it's like I'll just look out the plane window and just listen to a podcast and it's great. It is so great.
hmm oh yeah, yeah. I love a good like story, like
Mm-hmm.
episodic podcast where I'm just like on to the next one. Okay, I'm here. I'm just gonna listen for like the whole 3.5 hour flight.
Yep.
Just this whole
Yep.
thing. But
Yes. Man, that's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing
yeah.
that. I'm definitely going to give that a listen.
Yeah, check it out. Well, Stacy, where can people find you? Where can they follow along online and reach out and say hey?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on all platforms the same, Staci Brucks Photo. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all the above. YouTube.
Okay.
I'm like I'm trying to be so much better with YouTube. Right now I've just been posting my shorts, like basically reels over there, but it's a it's a lot. There's too many platforms. We just need to get someone to time all together. It would be so
Yeah,
helpful.
yeah. If we could just post one thing and just
Right.
like
And it just
to
spreads to
everything.
all of them.
Yeah,
Life changing. So
yeah,
anyone out here listening, if you could just do that, maybe that would be amazing.
yeah. Just get that for us.
Yeah.
We would be very grateful.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I will have links to all that in the show notes for everyone to go follow you. But yeah, Stacy, thanks so much for being on the show.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Wisdom and the Tangents podcast. As always, you can check out all the show notes at podcast.allheartphoto.com. If you liked the show, subscribe wherever you're listening to this or watching it. Just hit a subscribe button somewhere, search around, just hit your fingers on the phone or the whatever you're watching this on until something dings. And then that'll just be a fun. Just close your eyes, and you'll be subscribed to something. Who knows what? It might show up on your door. But yeah, subscribe to the show. That way you don't miss any new episodes. If you really like the show and you want to support this show, check us out on Patreon over with the Wit Friends, where you can get ad-free episodes of this podcast, which means you're actually not hearing this right now if you're a Wit Friend, because this is an ad. Didn't know you were in an ad, did you? But yeah, go check out Patreon. It's linked in the show notes. It's also like patreon.com/witpod. And you can get ad-free episodes of the show. I do a lot of group coaching over there. We just did a group coaching call last week. We do our monthly Ask-Aways, which you've heard on the feed here for everyone. But you can be part of that and join live. You can be there for the live tapings of these episodes and so much more. But yeah, go check out Patreon, join the Wit Friends. I would love to see you over there. Until next week, keep creating and keep making the world a better place. Bye, y'all.